Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about what is the difference between multiplying rational expressions and what's the difference between dividing rational expressions. Notice the cats. In this lesson, you will learn how to multiply and divide rational expressions by reviewing and practicing the basic steps in both. How do you multiply rational expressions? We'll start there. Pause me right now if you want to write down each of the steps, otherwise we're going to practice two problems. First example, 2x cubed over 5y squared times 10y over 3x squared. When you multiply any type of fractions, you multiply straight across. The other example would be x over a binomial times 6x minus 18 over 9x. Back to the first example, 2 times 10 is 20. X squared times y is x cubed times y is x cubed y. 5 times 3 is 15. Y squared and x squared, can't really combine those. So you just write x squared y. Normally, or typically, we tend to write the variables in alphabetical order. Can this simplify? Yes. 20 divided by 15, 5 can go into both of those. 5 will go into 20 4 times, and 5 will go into 15 3. When you divide variables, you are taught to subtract exponents. If you need to, write 3 x's on top and 3 x's on bottom, or 2 x's on bottom, and then cancel them out. You have 3 on top, 2 on bottom, 2 pair will cross out, and you're left with 1 on top. And then the y's will cross out. So you're left with 4x over 3 as your simplified version. For the next example, you factor as much as you can. Top is x, the bottom, and take out a GCF. The GCF is x, turns into x minus 3. On the top of the next fraction, you have 6x minus 18. Take out a 6. That becomes x minus 3, and then 9x is just 9x. Now here, I differ than some teachers. I just, instead of writing it as one big fraction, I know if something is on top, and when I write it on as one fraction, it'll still be on top. So I go ahead and cross out tops and bottoms. So like this x and this x, or you can cross out this x with that x, but you can only cross out pairs. So you will have 1x left over on bottom, because this x will only cross out 1x on the bottom, one monomial x. Then these x minus 3's will cross out. So you're left with 6 over 9, and then 1 left over x. What is 6 divided by 9? 2/3. 3 are going to 6 2 times, 3 are going to 9 3 times, and then you're left over with 1 extra x. That is your simplified version. And you're done. Let's try dividing. Again, here are some steps that you can write down if you want to. If you do want to, go ahead and pause. If not, we're going to go on and work out two problems. First example, the cats are going to come back on the screen. You have 3x squared divided by 8x cubed y. That whole fraction divided by 9x squared y squared over 4y squared. What do you do when you divide fractions? Notice this cat is standing up and this cat is upside down. When you divide fractions, yes, you multiply and flip. I remember some teachers told me when they taught it in middle school, they would say keep, change, flip. So you keep the first fraction, you change from division to multiplication, and then you flip the second fraction. I put it in green because we did flip it. 4y squared is now on top, 9x squared y squared is on bottom. So the same thing with the cats. You keep, we're going to change the multiplication, and then you flip the cat. So now they're both the right way. They're both walking right side up. Now that it's just multiplication, you work it out like before. You multiply straight across, and you get 12x squared y squared on top, 72x to the fifth y cubed. Where did I get x to the fifth? X cubed times x squared. When you multiply variables that are the same letter, you add exponents. So x cubed times x squared, 3 plus 2 is 5. Or you can just write 3 x's, 2 x's, that makes 5 x's. Simplify that, 12 over 72 turns into 1/6. You have 2 x's on top, 5 x's on bottom. Cross out the pairs, and that gives you 3 x's left over. 2 y's on top, 3 y's on bottom, that gives you 1 y left over. So your final simplification answer to dividing these two rational expressions will be 1 over 6x cubed y. That's your final answer. Let's do another one. Okay, here are the two fractions you're dividing. Make a note, you are dividing. Cat's right side up. Oh, this cat's upside down. What do? You keep, change the multiplication, and you flip. And then they're both right side up. So division, you have to make sure you flip, multiply, and then flip the second one. Okay, now that we're multiplying, you just factor the top, factor the bottom, factor the top, factor the bottom. On the top, you get 2x plus 3, x minus 2. On the bottom, GCF 2x. Take that out. You get 2x plus 3. If you want to pause right now, make sure you understand how you get this numerator. That's just factoring. I can go over that in class if you need me to. But pause if you want to give it a shot yourself. If not, here we go. Then factor the denominator here, you get difference of 2 squares, which would make that x plus 2, x minus 2. And now, instead of combining to one big fraction, I'm just going to go ahead and cross out tops with bottoms. 2x minus 3's would cross out, x minus 2's would cross out. The single x's right here and right here would cross out, and then it's 4 divided by 2. Not too sure why I did it again. But these two steps are the same. And then your final answer would be 2 over x plus 2. I'll fix that later. So back to the original. What is the difference between multiplying rational expressions and dividing rational expressions? The difference is, multiplication, you still factor and cancel. Okay, it's just one big fraction, because when you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across, making one big fraction. When you divide, however, you have to add a step. You have to change this division to multiplication and then flip the second fraction. So you keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. The big misunderstanding that I get here, that I see all the time with multiplying and dividing fractions, is that when you divide, you forget to flip the second fraction. So make sure you do not make this simple mistake on your practice problems tomorrow, or even on the quiz or test. When you divide fractions, you have to multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, you have to keep, change, flip. So right now, take out a sheet of paper and work out number 1 and 2, and tomorrow we'll check these answers. I'll take them up before we check them, and we'll see how you do. If you have questions, please email me tonight, even if you decide not to watch the video. Even if you decide to watch the video, I know it's optional, but if you do have questions over this, please email me tonight. I will check it around 8 or 9 o'clock. If not, maybe this will help you later on when the quiz comes and you want to review. I'll see you tomorrow, and good luck.